All right, so
Brrrah.
is that it? Nice. Nice. That's
Brrrah.
excellent.
That's how brown people start a conversation. You can be like, "Brrrah."
I I want to believe it, but at the same time I don't. So listen, how do you feel about the Muppets? It's just, do you know what Muppets are?
Yeah, I know what Muppets are. You're acting like I wasn't born in the 2000s.
So yeah, a friend of mine just sent me a snap a little while ago, asking me if her parents were the only people in the world when she was a child that made her watch Fraggle Rock. Do you know what Fraggle Rock is?
No, I never. I had PBS as a kid, so I don't.
All right, listen. Fraggle Rock was the craziest show ever. It was so this guy, right, buys a shop so that he can start doing his like woodworking or whatever, repairs or
Mhm.
whatever. I can't remember what it was that he was doing. He was a handyman. And he buys this house and there's a little mouse hole, right? On the inside of this mouse hole is a place called Fraggle Rock, right? Inside this mouse hole, there are millions of tiny Muppets living in there that have like a hierarchy system, and there are like tinier Fraggles. I can't remember what they're called. Like the tiny little construction dudes that build stuff out of sugar, and they just start eating the sugar. Like that the guy like so like there's a ton of little structures that get built, and then you see Fraggles everywhere just like taking apart structures and just starting to eat them. What does that represent? What in the world is that all about? What
Well,
does
you
that
said it was
represent?
like, what was it built in a hierarchy system? So does
Yeah,
it represent the common man? Does the sugar represent like money and the common man having to come and eating the money per se,
I
or
don't.
maybe it's
I think you're looking into it way too deep. I think you're
well,
looking
no,
into it way
you
too
said it
deep.
was
I
like
think
a
that
hierarchy system.
I don't know if it's based on like social structure or whatnot, but like then okay, so there's like it's like dimensional. I don't know why it's dimensional, but it is. So they call the human world outer space, right? So when they go out of Fraggle Rock, they go into outer space. Then there's a like a hole that they go out of on the other side of Fraggle Rock. It's like portals. Like I don't know how to describe it. There's this like kingdom of like giant Fraggles, uh, which I don't know how to describe that either. Like the Muppets were crazy. Like they had people that got in big suits, and then somebody that controlled the mouth on the big suits and whatnot. And then this big yeah.
You
Anyway,
remember
this
that
big
thing from Futurama? What was it? What was his name? The
Zoidberg.
Zoidberg was
Hey,
like,
he say, "Oh my God, look at the hot dogs I just made." Yeah. Oh, Professor Flansburgh, look at the hot dogs
so
I just made.
creepy,
Wah.
so creepy.
Don't worry, folks. The pill is a suppository. That's a great episode. The Lost City of Atlanta. That's
Mhm.
fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so they there's these giant people that are Fraggles too, I guess, that he tries to catch Fraggles when they go out into their world. And it's like, what is going on in this show? But in order for them to go and speak to like their oracle, they have to leave Fraggle Rock, walk through this world of giant Fraggles, and then go and speak to someone called the Trash Heap. The Trash Heap. And so this giant pile of trash and these rats give the Fraggles like majestic and mystical advice. Yeah, I know. I just want to know what in the world was going on in the 70s and 80s when they were making the show, and they were just like, yeah, so these tiny little rat people are going to go and talk to these giant rat people, and then these rat people are going to go talk to a pile of trash for advice. These little rats afterwards, after she was done like singing her majestic and mystical advice, the rats would say, "And the queen has spoken." And that was it. That was it. That was the whole premise of the show. The whole premise of the show. It had nothing to do with anything. They just kind of just made it.
Yeah. So PBS was not that weird. Thank you very much. I had normal cartoons. Like the big red dog, Clifford.
Sometimes I just wonder what these people are doing in like their staff rooms, and they're gonna be like pitching new ideas. Like, guys, so I got this crazy idea, right? A giant red dog. Right? It does it have to do with anything?
It grows because of love, guys.
Yeah. The girl just loved her dog so much that it just grew so huge.
So I want everyone out there to know that if your dog is not Clifford size, you don't love it enough. I'm sorry. Like, you need to love your dog. Or your dog, you kick your dog. That's what it's basically telling you. Because if you loved your dog enough, it would be as big as Clifford. You know the financial pain that would be?
To feed that dog. To feed it. Like, what do you do? Feed it once a week?
Calories.
Yeah. No, I was probably way more than that. The thing was the size of their house.
Yeah,
the thing was enormous.
Like 20,000 calories. Dude, that's a lot of dog food. The first thing quarantine occurs, dude, you're out here trying to buy dog food for your dog.
You got to buy every dog. Like, you got to buy every dog's food in order to feed your one dog.
You got to start feeding that dog dogs.
All right. Crazy thought. That what was it? Bedford Island or whatever it was that they lived on. It was Birdwell Island, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Imagine how many of the people on Birdwell Island you could feed with Clifford meat. How crazy is that? You could feed probably the entire continental United States just a tiny little bit of Clifford, and everyone would still be like, there would still be enough to eat. That's a lot of meat, man. That's like let's Google it. How many cows make one Clifford? Like that's a lot of meat.
That's a lot of dog, man. That takes dog to the next level.
Was Clifford the
big red dog?
Yeah, let's see. How big was Clifford the big red dog? 25 feet tall. 25 feet tall. 25 feet tall. Let's see how tall is a cow?
Cows are probably like what?
Cows are 4 feet tall. This dog was 6.5 times bigger than a cow.
This dog could eat 6.5 times more than a cow. He could probably eat like 6 cows. Can you imagine Clifford just going around like just biting cow?
I'm just thinking, like, people around here eat scrapple, right? Scrapple is disgusting. That's the most hideous thing in the world. I hate scrapple. Anybody that likes scrapple, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to offend you. That stuff is disgusting, and you probably shouldn't be eating it. That being said, imagine the scrapple that Clifford would make. There's a lot of food in Clifford. You could honestly, like, you could feed a lot of people with Clifford the big red dog.
I bet you there's like young people that are just like, wow, they're over here butchering my child.
Man, let's see. Let's Google it. See if somebody did the math. How many hamburgers could you make out of Clifford the big red dog? I just want to see if somebody did the math. List of Clifford. Oh, nobody is this fun. Nobody is this fun.
Oh,
I want to
guess how much Clifford weighs. Guess
Oh
how much
gosh.
he
If he's
weighed.
25 feet tall. All right, let me just look up average cow weight. All right, let's see.
So Clifford most
Okay, so
likely.
hang on. An average adult male cow, like a bull, would weigh 2,400 pounds, and then a female would weigh 1,600 pounds. How much does Clifford weigh?
87 tons. So to put into how much
A ton
does
is about 2,000 pounds. So measure 84.7 times 2,000. Holy cow, that's a lot of meat. 84.7 times 2,000. How much is that?
84 to let's see here. 87 times 2,000. It's 174,000 pounds.
That's a lot of meat. That's a lot of meat. Think about how many people a cow can feed. Like one cow could probably feed like 6 families. Like that's a lot of meat. There's a lot of meat on a cow. Like that's like I don't know, like 30 people you could probably feed a cow with. I don't know. I don't know if that's like a gross estimation of how many people like could eat off of a cow, but there's a lot of meat on a cow. If 30 people could eat one cow,
So think about it this way. A house on average weighs 160,000 pounds. Clifford would
that's
weigh
crazy.
Clifford would
As
weigh
much as the small house.
10,000 more pounds than a house.
That's crazy. That's crazy to
So
think about.
if Clifford one day just got pissed and ran into his owner's house, he'd like bulldoze the entire house.
Clifford would do just as much like carnage and like collision as Godzilla. Oh, hang on a second. Now that is an estimation. How big is Godzilla?
I swear to God, if Godzilla is
How big is
smaller-
Godzilla? All right, so 355 feet tall. That Clifford is roughly half the size of Godzilla in height, but they're almost the exact same weight. So Godzilla is 90,000 tons, and Clifford is 87 tons or 84 tons.
87.
87.4 tons. That's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, you could feed all of Japan in half with Godzilla. You could probably feed half the US with one Clifford. That's a
So
lot of meat, yo.
basically, Clifford tell us who would you think wins? Clifford versus Godzilla.
Godzilla can shoot lasers out of his mouth, dude.
Clifford is just gonna
Godzilla
eat
would
them.
eat Clifford for breakfast. Clifford can't eat lasers. What dog do you know that can eat like a high-powered laser beam? If like one of those like government satellites that people think they own that would nuke the whole world in like 30 seconds. If that was shot at Clifford, Clifford would die. It doesn't matter.
Just swallowed it.
Just Clifford just absorbed the force of the laser and then just shot it back at the satellite. That's crazy. We should write like we should animate a short film of Clifford eating.
Clifford, yeah.
Yeah, that would be crazy. All right. Well, on that note, this is Life During Quarantine, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna cue the intro. All right, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Life During Quarantine. I'm Sam. This is Abdullah. We're here to make your life a little better while you're stuck at home, trapped in the cave that is your bedroom. We're here to make life just a little bit better. That's our goal. You know, I don't know about you, but I'm sick of this new schedule for college. I mean, I've always been online.
Oh my God.
I've been online for the since I started this year off. For some reason they wanted to cancel. I don't know if you remember at Warwick, they wanted to cancel our classes till June. That's a long time to cancel our classes. That's a long time. That's a really long
When
time.
you when you take into perspective that a lot of the Warwick teachers were fighting at the beginning to keep students coming into class, it's really crazy to think about.
Yeah,
A lot of
yeah,
the teachers didn't want classes to move online because um, they just didn't have the ability at home, and a lot of professors even now don't. A lot of the schools are providing the professors with the ability to access their students over the web, or like
yeah,
let's say a lot of professors are still coming into the college itself and just streaming from their office. The
yeah.
campuses that are open and are allowing their workers to come in, they're working from campus.
Don't don't most offices though? Don't most people have to share a desk there though? Aren't there like more than one person at the desks at a time though?
Not depends on your class. None of my classes had anything like that. Now, more than one teacher might use a single classroom at a but
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah, of course.
over like class periods. I think right now they have more than enough classrooms available for every teacher to be like the teachers that are
Wow. But
filming
always if yeah,
from
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. To have a
because
makeshift.
it is only certain teachers, it's just certain teachers that don't have access at home because
It was just
no matter what anybody says, teachers aren't the most wealthy people out here, so some teachers don't have
yeah,
access.
not the community college ones at least.
Yeah, definitely.
There was I just remember when I went to go I actually got a professor fired at one point because he was because he was kind of being derogatory and he was being and he like just a really so this man decided to go from primitive man to Jesus back to Mesopotamia to Genghis Khan to the assassination of John F. Kennedy back to I think Jesus or Alexander the Great. I can't remember which one. Then to Primitive Man again to Obama in the span of 15 minutes. 15 minutes. This was a world history class. I'm just like, who is this guy? And instead of like giving us printouts of maps and stuff, like of like where everything was in this like greater Mesopotamic state, he drew all of the maps by
He drew all the
I
maps by
tell you
hand.
that they were like circles. Yes, all of them, every single one of them. It was absolutely I could not believe it. I was like, what is this guy doing? Who is this guy? What is the deal? But I mean, he was then he started talking about like, you know, he was like bashing certain types of people and then afterwards he started talking about singling out like conservative students in my class and then singling out people who were uh non-gender conforming or something. He was very strange guy. He wasn't really with the times at all.
See, yeah,
But
that's
I,
what
I went to
you
somebody and
know,
I reported it.
that's what you should do, and that's what anybody should do, whether you're in college, high school, or whatever. If you have a teacher, there is a difference between a teacher that puts their own political views out there, and then there's a teacher that tries to force their political views on you. And the one that is forcing, it's very good to be aware of what they're doing, because if a teacher is forcing their political views on you, that's not someone you want as your professor, as your teacher, as your anything, because that's not something you want to deal with. That will just no
It's
teacher
not.
should form that
It's
type of
also not
bias.
education.
No.
It's not education.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. It's not. It's just conforming a body to what they seem fit. If you have a teacher, there's some teachers that aren't with the time, that if they do have someone that is homosexual or anything in their class, they're not going to be okay with it. But there's also some teachers that are super super liberal, and then they become something else. So you should avoid both situations. You shouldn't put yourself in either one of them. I think you should have someone that's unbiased, because you're at school to get an education, to grow your
Yeah.
mind, not to do
Absolutely.
anything else.
It's become college has become a war zone of the school of thought, unfortunately, and it's not even. right now the problem I think with college is the fact that it's no longer an educational institution and it's become a business. I mean, it's all about money. It's all about money now. And one of the things that's really starting to irritate me about this corona nonsense is that colleges are not finding ways to compensate for students who paid thousands of dollars to go to these institutions, and not very many of them are giving money back to people who paid for their room and board for an entire year.
Right, exactly.
And
You're not
for a
getting that money back.
majority of their year, yeah, exactly. And for a majority of their year, they're gonna have to spend at home. It's like, yeah, it's a business. Sure, you buy into the business, but it's supposed to primarily be an educational institution there for you as an individual. Like, a lot of people right now are under this preconception that public schools have started to push people on. It's the notion and the idea that you need college. That's not true. That's not true. Like, yeah, like you should go get an education. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that the vernacular of this situation should be that colleges need you. What would a college be without its students? That's the thing. The college needs you just as much as you need it, and that language and that vocabulary just is not used when it comes to speaking about these institutions.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely seniors right now are so stressed, and they it's because of the way that the education system has college set up as a requirement, and I think that parents are to blame in this too. You shouldn't make your children think that college is the only answer to
The
getting out of
only
somewhere.
option, yeah.
Because you can go out here with a high school diploma and still get a decent paying job. I know it doesn't seem 100% common and it's not easy, obviously, but right now, nowadays, your imagination and wow, that sounds so corny, but your imagination and your
No, no, you're
mental
right. You're
fitness
100% right.
and
Your
things
sky
like
is the
that
limit.
cost so much more. Companies want you to be better at thinking, not better at being able to solve fractions. I'm pretty sure no company right now needs to know that you can do quadratic formula in your head like that. Like, no one cares about that unless you're doing
Yeah.
that as a career choice. It's not something that you need, and that's why I think standardized requirements for certain classes shouldn't be needed. I shouldn't have to take trigonometry to be a business major. What am I going to do with
Yeah,
trig and
exactly.
business? It's stupid. I should be required to take marketing and finance classes. Yes, that makes
Exactly.
sense.
Exactly.
But I shouldn't be required to take a high level math class because I'm doing business. Now, for things like doctors, nurses, things like that, I understand that they need to be educated in a lot of things. It's important for them
And
to
not
be able
only
to.
that, like if the trigonometry is the thing that you're stuck on, like say trigonometry, you're a doctor. That type of stuff, I mean, like that type of class, that type of course, that type of thought orientation, like if you're a doctor and you're wondering why you have to take trig, don't necessarily think too hard about taking a class like that, because it's there to help keep your mind active, to help you keep working through new problems, to help develop more critical thinking skills, to help you develop yourself as a person who can handle high amounts of stress. That's really what that's for. But for everybody else, I was working on a psychology degree. I don't understand why I have to take statistics in order to be a psychologist. Like, everybody understands how statistics work, and if you're like, unless you're going into the applied research department uh, psychology, you don't need to do that. But if you're working on it like a counseling degree, like I was, to learn new ways to ask better questions, to learn new ways to help people work through certain things that they're experiencing, certain patterns of thought that they're working through, I should not have to spend my time in an algebra course if I want to learn how to help people. You know what I mean? That level of stress, it's not it's just wrong. I personally think it's wrong. I don't need to take a literature course in order to learn how to ask questions. You know?
Yeah, and I feel like history being one of the main ones. History
Yeah.
should be broken up as a course that you would need for your specific major. Now, what I mean by that is, let's say you are a business major. I think you should be having to take a history class that's focused around business in history. That would
Yeah,
make
like the
more sense.
tycoons.
Yeah, exactly. You're learning how to manage business throughout history so you don't make certain mistakes. If you're a business major, you don't need to know about the Crusades. What in the Crusade is going to help me run my business other than,
The
oh
conquering,
yeah,
the
all
conquering
this
aspect. You know, the conquering. You got to
yeah.
learn how to take over businesses through bloodshed over Israel in order
Yeah.
to make a business. You know, like I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I really benefited from learning about killing thousands of people in order to make sure that my business is successful.
Well, you needed it for your psychology degree because, they
Yeah,
wanted to make sure that you could identify the next Crusades before it even happens and you can find it
yeah,
and stop it.
exactly, exactly.
Obviously,
Yeah,
if and none of you can
yeah.
pick up on our sarcasm here, it is all sarcasm. Um, it's really stupid how they have things set up. Just like for medical system, I'm pretty sure medical students don't want to take all the education they have to. Who, who in their right mind, as a doctor, cares about the Crusades right now? I'm pretty sure the only type of history they want to learn is the history of medicine, and that should be what their history course should be
I
based on.
mean, look,
The history of medicine.
if they want to read a book about it, like if you want to sit there and read a book about the Crusades and you want to be a personal like a personally acclaimed expert of the Crusades, then go for it. Nobody is telling you that you shouldn't research a topic that you're like interested in. I don't know why you
Right.
chose the
Yeah,
Crusades, but
yeah,
I
and
mean,
that makes
like I'd
people
say,
want to go out and find education. That makes people want to go out and educate themselves and get them to learn something. You
yeah, I
know,
think the most important part to remember about colleges in America as of 20 I want to say 2014 and beyond is when it started to get like stupid terrible with the way that no 2012. I'm pretty sure 2012 was when they went through and made every loan that is given to you as a student federal or through the federal loan system like the FAFSA.
yeah, I think people need to understand that college is a business and people treat it like people need to understand that it is a business and colleges are making money off of you. The reason colleges want you to come out to them is because they're going to get a crap ton of money out of you. And that's why I'm saying right now colleges are going to be so happy with this brand new form of test taking that's going on because if you read they're not requiring seniors to post any of their tests to get accepted into college anymore. So those testing requirements aren't being followed for
It
most
just
colleges.
goes to show how unimportant it actually is.
It's
It
to get
just goes to
standardized
show
tests.
yeah, exactly. It's just another standardized test. I mean, I I'll get a little personal about it. The SAT, um, I was a 4.0 student in high school. I had a 4.0 for almost all of high school, with the exception of a year that I spent in the hospital for my misdiagnosed Lyme disease. Um, I I had a couple of C's in math. But I mean, I was taking AP courses and advanced. Like, yeah, I was taking AP courses and stuff so that it would outweigh math classes. Like all of my AP English classes, I was exceptional in. And then it was just math that I've always struggled with. I've never been good at math, but that's just I just feel like math is something that needs to be taught to you differently as a kid, and that public school doesn't really do it all that well. But the big thing is I was a 4.0 student for all of high school. That's a pretty good estimation of who you are as an individual. High school was a breeze because I turned in all of my work on time, and the times that I didn't turn in all my work on time because of stuff that was coming like happening in my life, I would just talk to a teacher and they would say, "That's okay. Like I understand. I have life too." And you're just going to figure out how life actually works while you're a freshman, sophomore, junior in high school. Once you're a senior, you have a pretty good understanding of what life is like, right? That stuff just happens. But I didn't even break 1,000 on my SAT. I didn't even get to 1,000. I got like a near perfect score on the English portion of the test, which is normal. I mean, most people, if you're an American and you've been taking English since the time you were little, even if you like if you are an American, you like if you were a born and bred, cut and dry, like you were born and raised in the school system in the United States, you should 100% get like almost perfect on the SAT English portion. You've had time to learn how to do this, and you just should. The English is super easy as long as you get to know and understand the semantics. I think texting is gonna ruin all of that for kids, but it doesn't matter. But I mean, like, say like students from from other countries that are foreign. What is it? It's
I forgot what it's called. It is
foreign exchange.
Foreign exchange students, right?
Yeah, if you're a foreign exchange student, you have a like a bit of a learning curve when it comes to English. If you don't get a perfect
ESOL, ESOL.
Yeah, English as a second language is another way to look at that. ESL. But math is universal. So if you're foreign exchange, you shouldn't have as much trouble with math. But I got a near perfect score on my English portion, and then I bombed the math, and a lot of colleges wouldn't even accept my applications because of my SAT score. And that's absurd. I had a 4.0 in high school. Like I wasn't like faking my grades or anything. How do you even do that in this day and age? How do you fake your grades? But it was just the math portion, and that's just really disappointing.
A lot of colleges will look at tests as a benchmark for who you are, but some people are good at tests, some people aren't. I am fortunate. I'm really decent at tests, so I can get by without really trying.
I passed my prostate exam. I studied real hard for it.
I got I believe I got a 1230 or a 1240 on my SATs the first time I took it. And it was fine. And like I said, I didn't apply to that many colleges because I knew where I wanted to go. And I didn't.
You also didn't really care that much about high school. I mean,
no, I didn't. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I had like a 2.6, 2.7. I think my cumulative was like a 3.0. So I didn't have amazing grades during high school at all. I didn't care for a long time because it was just kind of like breezy. It was stupid. But when colleges looked at my grades, my high school grades weren't looked at that bad that much because my SAT scores were great. So it's stupid when you look at things like performance over time and change over time. And a lot of teachers, a lot of guidance counselors will be like, well, colleges look at how much you've changed from freshman year to senior year. So let's say if you were really bad freshman year and that you did really good senior year, they'll take that. No, they don't. Because let me tell you, I started bad freshman year and I didn't start bad freshman year. I think junior year when, and all the personal stuff that happened junior year. Junior year, I really, really did stop trying. Like I'm going to say junior year was my worst year. I think I finished that year with a 2.0 GPA. Like that was my worst.
Enough to pass.
Yeah, enough to pass. I did the bare minimum that year. And there was a lot going on, and we'll talk about that in the future. But things... Yeah. We'll wait till we get on that topic. That's gonna be terrible. But things, life, like Sam said, gets you into situations where you cannot produce results like you can, and colleges don't take that into consideration. But now it's hilarious that the world is forcing them to take it into consideration because now colleges, those new lines of freshmen that they want to come in, every single college is just going to have to guess and go off of how well they did freshman, sophomore, junior year of high school, and just go off of that.
So, yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I think that there's definitely going to need to be a conversation about how we're going to help kids like that are just going straight into the brand new college experience as of this year. I mean, it's kind of it's kind of awful to think about, like, when in the world are they gonna determine what the admission date is? Because there's a deadline for applications and stuff that's, I think, on May 13th, something like that, like May 1st. No, because you graduated in May, don't you? So it's probably May 1st submission deadline.
It's April. A lot of the deadlines come up in April.
That's ridiculous. So I hope that they're going to do something about that, because I mean, like,
yeah, they have to, because college. I think people forget that colleges want money, and at the end of the day, they will do whatever they can to get these freshmen to come in. And actually, right now, for them, that's a bigger standout point, because guess what? Any kid that applies to go to college is going to probably get in. They're going to probably have to pay to get in.
This is going to change the world, dude. All of this virus nonsense is going to change the world. It's really going to change the world. I'm also very nervous with the whole May 1st deadline coming up. Like, that's kind of terrifying. That's kind of terrifying.
Well, states like Michigan are, like, going crazy, because Michigan actually released, I believe it was Michigan, they actually released a brand new guideline. They have one of the toughest, strictest guidelines for social distancing, which basically theirs is like, you're not allowed to leave the house unless you're going to go get medication or the grocery store.
Yeah.
Or you will get hit with a fine.
People are getting arrested for going to public places like a park to let their kids run around for a little bit. Yeah, there was a guy who got handcuffed a couple days ago for being in a public park, and they said, unless you show us your ID, we're going to put handcuffs on you in front of your children. Like, you need to go back home. And it's like, you two cops, you're right next to each other. What good are you doing by interacting with people who are out in the open space? What are you going to start doing? Arresting people for going on a walk?
Yeah, and Michigan is just throwing up major protests. People in Michigan are going to, and it just, social distancing just went out of the door. People are in their cars protesting. Some people are in their cars. Other people that don't care, they're like, hey, you're going to open the state back up May 1st. Are just outside going crazy. But that's what I was worried about. And that's why during this entire pandemic, I was like, it's really crazy. People are actually taking this government ban really seriously, because most of the time, whenever the government tells Americans to do anything, we're just like, nah, bro, you ain't going to tell us to do nothing. We about to come out here and do some crazy riots. But people were taking it pretty well until they started pushing their luck with the cops. And I think every single time, any state, with Michigan wasn't doing a bad thing. If people aren't listening, obviously they have to use force and enforce it. But you can't just tell people they can't do something.
There are two things to keep in mind. Two, people who are enslaved believe that they are 100% free. I mean, you are putting a hold on people, telling them you can live your life the way you want to, except, like, but it's become, there is going to be a second disease that's discovered alongside coronavirus, and that's cabin fever. It's very, very hard to stay home all of the time. It's very hard. It's very hard for people to stay home all the time. I know that, like, I'm tired of smelling the walls in my house. I'm just kidding. I've been going around smelling the walls of my house. I just, like, I want to I hope this summer doesn't get completely canceled, because I mean, like, it's ridiculous. I mean, part of the problem right now, for people like me who work in commission type businesses, I'm digging myself a hole by going and showing up and sitting on the clock. Now, I need an hourly paycheck. I need to make sure that I have money going into my bank account, because I have a card and a phone and life to pay for. Life doesn't just stop just because some virus says, hey, I'm going to kill you. That's not how life works. And so, I can't just, like, stay off the clock. I'm probably going to get a check for, like, for 30 hours a week, for 3 weeks. And, they're going to give me my paycheck. And after that, once this month is all said and done, I'm going to have to pay the company back in the amount of commission debt that I've made for myself. I'm really thinking about that with, like, car dealerships and and
Yeah,
stuff.
car dealer, which is why, I understand that car dealerships right now with the whole 84 months of deferred interest with 3 months of them, the payments that they're covering and all that stuff that they're doing. I understand where they're coming from. Obviously, they want their workers to make money, and if people aren't buying cars, they're not making money. I mean, we talked about in the first episode, the car market is plummeted. Prices are going down by $8,000 every month. So the car market is failing, yes, and they're doing whatever they can to maintain it. But at the end of the day, they have to worry about existing people with existing loans, and I really think that 3 months of deferred interest should be eligible for at least some people that are out of jobs, that are sitting at home. Like, I don't know if you heard, but we're supposed to be getting $600 people that are taking unemployment. I have no idea what that means because it
Yeah,
doesn't.
they've not
There's
really
no.
figured this out. They've really not figured out how all this money is going to get distributed. And I mean, I think it's supposed to be like people who are collecting Social Security already are supposed to get more money. And it's just kind of like, how does that even work? How is
Yeah,
that
you
even
you
fair?
can't just promise people that they'll get more money and then not be able to act on it. Now, of course, the first round of stimulus checks are coming in, and by the way, car dealerships are trying very hard for you to come spend that stimulus check with them. If you've noticed, a lot more car dealerships are sending in flyers in the mail around this time because they know the stimulus check are coming in, and that $2,000 or even $1,200, that is a pretty down payment for a car,
I
for
mean,
certain.
but I mean, the lower you put down, the lower your interest rate is, though. So the big thing right now, though, the biggest thing about this whole financial debacle that we're having with all these stimulus checks and whatnot and all these loans, I mean, banks are suffering right now because people have taken out loans like with businesses and restaurants and stuff to like pay for the rent and pay their employees and stuff for showing up at the time they did, and that loan money not flowing back into the banks. I mean, the numbers for the amount of debt that has been created for banks is absolutely insane. But the other thing to keep in mind is that the curve for the stock market keeps going up. How is that even possible? Like all of the stocks plummeted completely because everybody pulled out. I promise you. I think what happened is that everybody pulled out and was like, I really don't know what to do. I think that I'm going to lose all of my money if I don't pull out all of my stocks. And they pulled out all the stocks and the
Which is
stock
what
market
happened
crashed.
during the Great Depression.
Well, that and also because people were paying for everything with credit and credit didn't exist
Well,
yet.
yeah, obviously, I understand that part, but I just meant like partial with people just pulling out so much money from the
Yeah.
stock market that the stock
Yeah.
market just was like,
It was crazy. Like around that time, the dollar was so useless that people were using it as toilet paper and to fill holes in their walls when the boards were coming loose and whatnot, using it as wallpaper. I mean, it's insane how little value the dollar was at the time. But the problem is that I just it's crazy to me to think about the way that the stock market works. Like I still don't really necessarily understand just how it works when everybody pulls out, right? Everybody sells all their stocks or everybody drops all of their stocks that they save all of their money. Then everybody says, "Oh, shares are 20 cents." And then they buy 400 shares of a 20-cent stock, and then the stock market just skyrockets again. It's unbelievable how that works. And so it gives this really strange curve of how the United States economy works. Like if the stock market keeps going up and the GDP is going down, more people are collecting unemployment, so we're going further in debt. But then afterwards, all of the banks are having loans that are not getting paid back because people aren't making money. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, I don't know if our debt is just gonna continue to skyrocket, like trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars worth of debt. But here's the thing. No matter how much money the United States borrows from other or countries, or how much debt our country continues to experience, every country in the world suffers when the United States economy suffers because of how much global outreach the United States have. People say that it's a very selfish outlook to look at the United States as the center of the world. It's the center of the world. It's the center of the world. It's the land of the free and the land of the rising economy, apparently, because, like the fact that the economy is suffering and still flourishing at the exact same time, I don't understand it. I really don't. I really don't. And it leads you to think, like, where is all the money coming from? Where is it going? Why is it not making it our way? How are we still going in debt when the stock market shows that we're still going up? It's so strange. It's very strange.
It's very very crazy, and it's definitely something that is going to be a problem in the future if the stock market isn't looked at, and if we aren't taking the debt into consideration here, which is what I think Trump himself is probably taking into consideration when he keeps saying, well, I have to open the country back up, because it's understandable. The longer we stay closed, the higher the chance of us falling into an economic collapse is. And
Yes.
I'm not saying that, oh, if we don't open up in the next month, the world is going to just end.
But I mean,
Eventually, this is not. They're saying 18 months for a coronavirus vaccine. We cannot stay indoors for 18
no,
months. It just
no,
can't happen.
no.
The
First of
world
all,
will
people are going to
suffer.
go crazy. Second of all, the world is going to suffer. That's just that.
I mean, gas prices. Saudi Arabia, and this is the first time this has happened since like the original. I believe the Gulf War is what it was. It was something. It was whatever the big gasoline war that we had a while ago with I think Iran or Iraq, where they have seized the amount of gas that they're selling out because the United States, for once, doesn't need it. There is less gas being transferred out because we don't need as much gas. I mean, gas
Nobody's
prices
buying
are
gas.
going
Exactly. Nobody's buying
gas prices
oil.
are going down to $1.60, $1.70. I mean, so with gas stations, how it works is you buy gas on credit, and you always buy gas at least a dollar when buying gas. That's why most gas stations sell gas for $2 something cents, and that's why they say convenience stores produce a lot of money, because gas is a very profitable source of income. But when you can only sell gas at $1.79,
When
you're
it
only
was
making 70.
almost $3 before. Like when it was close to $3. I think it was what, 260 before the economy completely destroyed itself. I mean, normally it costs me, $25-$30 to put gas in my gas tank. It cost me $19 the other day.
Yeah,
19.
and it's cost me like 18.45 to fill up my tank. And it was crazy. I was like, wow, this is nice, but also keep in your mind, the more the gas, you could always check where the economy stands with the price of gas. The lower the price of gas, just know the worse the economy is going, because that means these gas stations, all of these places are not making any profit. At 50 cents a gallon profit, because Saudi Arabia isn't going to change that $1 price
Right.
point. They're gonna want that $1 regardless,
Right.
so the convenience store suffers. So at 50 cents of a price point of gas, at that point you're cutting into your own profits, because you have to pay tax on top of that. You have to pay everything on top of that. So that's why, some different gas prices, they're like $3 some places in the summer, because that's how they make profit. Anything below a dollar is economic collapse. At that point, if anything, if gas prices for whatever reason go below a dollar, or even to $1.20, wherever you're getting that gas from, that store is not profiting anything at
No.
that
And
point.
and it's really hard, especially, I mean, you we were just joking about how like Wawa was crackhead haven. Like it just goes to show like the type of environment that gas stations and convenience stores kind of have. It's really dangerous for for people to be even like considering to like just going to the gas station, because it's just people just hang out at gas stations. People just hang out there. And I don't know why at convenience stores people are always loitering, but people just hang out at gas stations. It's just the way it is. And there's always people, asking for money, asking for people to, go and, my mom and I are stranded here. I just need money to put in my gas tank so I can get out of here. I mean, it's a dangerous place to be. I mean, gas stations, I can't even imagine.
But yeah, it's all really scary stuff. But to lighten the mood a little bit, we had a few local news stories that not local, but news stories related to quarantine that we had coming up that we wanted to talk to you guys about, just to bring a little bit of happiness into your guys' day, because not everything has to be negative around here. So the first one, the funniest one that I personally found was the wet wipe clog in the Florida wastewater facility. So basically, because of the toilet paper shortage, people went and bought wet wipes. That was all fun and well. A lot of people use wet wipes even
all
now.
Fun and well.
That was all fun and well.
You're gonna need to put that on a T-shirt now. It's all fun and well.
When we have
all
merch,
fun and games, all well and good. That's you meant to say all well and games. Now I said it. All well and games. All good and well is what you meant to say. Well and good. Oh my God. Now you got me all types of confused. Oh, I hate you.
But oh my God! For the first time ever, all 4 pumps at a Florida wastewater treatment facility were clogged because of wet wipes, and it's just from the influx of people just
trying to wipe,
just wiping and flushing. And Florida Safety Committee and the wastewater facility itself put out a statement saying, "Remember, guys." No wipes in the pipes.
No wipes in the pipes, baby. That's crazy to think about. I mean, how many? Just think. Let's. How many miles of pipes does Florida have? I mean, like every city has to have miles upon miles upon miles of pipes for sewage. It's clogged and backed up because of baby wipes. Are you kidding me? That's crazy.
And think about it. They treat hundreds of thousands of gallons of water a day. So think about the amount of stuff that probably comes through. I mean, just think about the random stuff that comes through, but the amount of wet wipes coming through has just caused it to stop working. Like you guys need to. I know wet wipes sometimes say flushable on them. Please don't flush your wet wipes, because you're gonna cause issue. Now, it would be really funny if all that water got clogged and it shot back up those people's houses.
Oh my goodness, no, that would be so horrible, because not only do they have to worry about coronavirus, they got to worry about botulism and jaundice now too. Oh my goodness. No, that would be a national health crisis in and of itself after that too. The healthcare system is already exhausted as it is. They don't need people trudging in their crap in their house. Oh my God.
Can you imagine someone comes home, like a nurse is just treating like COVID patients, and then you get like this lady that's coming in, she's like, my toilet just shot into my mouth.
Ew, oh my gosh. I can't even think about that. Oh my goodness. I mean, at least they'd have that'd be the dirtiest bidet ever. That'd be the nastiest bidet. This just give me chills just thinking about it. That's disgusting.
It's because it is literally because of people's ignorance. Because you shouldn't have been flushing you shouldn't be flushing your toilet paper down the toilet that much anyway. But the fact that you are now flushing massive rolls of baby wipes down your toilet.
I'm just wondering, like, now here's a question. Are people using the bathroom more because they're at home eating more? Think about that. People normally use the bathroom like a couple times a day to pee, and then like once or twice a day for number 2. And then afterwards, what do you think?
I think people have nothing better to do.
So you're just kind of like, well, yeah, I guess I noticed that it's there now. So I guess, if I'm just going to watch YouTube videos all day anyway, I might as well go use the bathroom like 4 times a day.
Probably. It's more people are at their home. There's more people have access to the. Because I mean, you gotta go for that small population that probably does use the bathroom outside. Not number two outside, but at least number one that just goes outside. A lot more of the toilet is probably being used a lot often. And then we're eating takeout constantly now.
Oh
All
yeah.
the
Oh
time.
my goodness. I mean, takeout. I mean, you just got to think about this way. I mean, the grocery store looks like Vietnam and communist Russia. I mean, there's nothing in the grocery store. So what are you doing? You're gonna go get takeout in for food. I mean, my family and I just ate pizza tonight. Um, oh my gosh, I cannot believe the. I bet you everyone is so constipated right now that gets takeout. I that's so bad. That's so terrible. I would never want to be in that position. I would never ever want to be in that position. Absolutely not.
So, Sam, you found yourself a new
I'm
story too.
this one is kind of hilarious. The headline of this one is people have been using dating apps as a form of entertainment and how the pandemic has changed the way we date. Now, this is what's funny to me. This is what's funny to me. A Tinder spokesperson said that on March 29th, more than 3 billion swipes were registered on the app, which is the most swipes on any single day in history. Its usership has increased 20% worldwide, and the said average length of conversation has increased by 25%. People are so bored. People are so bored.
Well,
And so
Tinder also put in a passport feature now, so you can literally put your profile for like I think 15 days. It's free to everyone, and then you have to get Tinder, the premium Tinder. Um, but you're able to put your location as anything you want. So if you want
yeah,
to
I
match
mean
with people in like Canada, you can.
the thing I think the feature to choose where you're located is probably free, and then like to set anywhere else is that whole 15-day trial or whatever you're saying. I mean, I bet you can just set your location now, and then it just be like anywhere you are. You don't have to change your mileage or your epicenter for where you're seeing people. I'm sure that's not changed, but the let's see. The associate professor of communication science at UW Madison, wherever that is, University of Washington, Madison. I don't know what that is. Um,
Madison Kalina.
yeah, Madison, Catalina. Um,
Oh, sounds
Madison,
like the
Catalina,
next
Toma.
Mac operating system.
Oh wait, hang on. There's a comma that's missing. That's why. This is why I am so passionate about grammar. The UW Madison Catalina Toma. That is not a university. It's the associate professor of communication science at UW Madison, comma, Catalina Toma, comma, said. That's what it should be. But I'm reading this article. Channel 3000, get with it. Um, said that the new use of dating apps is fascinating. Fascinating. The apps are being used now to just curb loneliness, make friends, and validate someone's desire to feel wanted. And that there's been
That sounds
following
sad.
research that has found that divorce rates and domestic violence are also on the rise right now because other people that shouldn't be using dating apps are using dating apps.
Dude, and that's also because of like significant others being scared that their other significant other has coronavirus. People are divorcing people over COVID. This is
No,
insane.
look, the next baby boom is happening. It's happening. It's happening. There's gonna be a lot of Valentine's Day babies in November. I'm telling you, it's happening. It's gonna happen. I'm telling you. People are gonna be acting up because they're stuck at home all the time. I'm telling you. It's gonna happen. I 100% believe there are gonna be millions of babies born in November. Millions. I like not the thousands that are probably born daily, because there are millions of babies that are born every year, right? I'm
Mhm.
talking millions of babies born in November. I'm betting on it. I'm gonna like you heard it from me first. We'll do a virtual shake. Let's just do fingers right here. I'm pointing at you. Um, I bet you $10. I bet you $10. Millions of babies in November. Millions.
Millions. They're gonna be like, hospitals don't have enough infirmaries.
So the researcher also said that this may actually be a good thing for those that are searching for meaningful relationships, though, because a lot of so it says that, I mean, really, that dating apps have created hookup culture. They have. I mean, it's absolutely insane. That's what a majority of people are looking for in a dating app nowadays. And so that's some of the frustration for people who are looking for truly, like, emotionally intimate connections are flourishing right now, because people it's technically illegal to be physically intimate right now. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, leaving the house to go and meet somebody just for, for what is that? Just meeting people for whatever. Yeah, just I mean, just for intimacy in general. I mean, people
Yeah,
who are,
we're gonna call it Sonic Boom. Is what we're
yeah,
gonna call it for a
anyway.
Sonic Boom.
So people, they said that social distancing can almost provide people with the opportunity to remove their BS filter and be like, I'm just going to be me, and if someone likes me, that's fine. If someone doesn't like me, that's fine. I can always swipe on and go to the next. I think that almost provides an increased opportunity for people to truly represent themselves in the way that they want to be seen on these dating apps, because they actually have nothing to lose right now.
Wow. Yeah,
That's
whoever
great.
wrote that was probably like, yeah, dude, this is they probably have their own dating profile.
This person, yeah, no. This person is one of those people who has a dating profile with a list of demands in their bio, that it's like, I don't want this type of person. If you're looking for this, you can swipe left. I don't like you if you don't like me because I'm 5'10", and it's weird for a woman to be 5'10". So I'm gonna swipe left. Or a dude who says that if you're fat, get out of here. I don't want to talk to you. It's this was written April 14th. So that's yesterday. April 14th. I mean, it's kind of wild.
And back to wiping. There was a bakery in Finland that actually was saved because of COVID. Well, hand in hand, I guess. They actually were going to have to close because of COVID and because of the closing, globally. But they uploaded an Instagram picture of toilet paper cake, and I'm gonna put a picture up of that right now. That way it's up here so you guys can take a look at it. It really is hilarious, that's available right now, and it really just shows the power of social media, because where else would something like that be able to gain such advertisement power to where it's not only stopped her bakery from closing, but so many people ordered this toilet paper cake that she actually had to hire more people so she could fulfill the toilet order. Okay, I actually want to taste it because these probably taste amazing. I
Probably
I,
tastes like
I
crap. I'm glad you got it.
well, I would hope I would. I'm not that.
Imagine if it was like a lava cake,
Oh no
and
no
so
no
you
no!
cut it. But it's like milk chocolate. So you cut into it, and then it just spills out. That would be
Dude,
hilarious.
I've been craving like sugar for no reason whatsoever lately.
I've been I've been just wanting pizza all the time. That's all I want to eat. All I
Because you
want to
can't
eat
eat
is
it.
pizza. I mean, like I said, I just had pizza tonight. But I mean, when I'm at work and I'm sitting there with one of my coworkers and with my buddy Jordan. Yeah, I think you met Jordan. We're just sitting there on the clock, and I'm like, listen, man, I want pizza. You want to split it with me? And then I'll eat half a Domino's pizza, and then he'll eat the other half. Like, I crave. It doesn't matter. Like, you know how I feel about pizza. I have very strong opinions of pizza. I'm eating Domino's right now. I'm eating the good old Domino's. You know what I'm saying? I'm eating the Domino's pizza. I'm telling you, all I've wanted this whole time is pizza. All I want is pizza.
You know how good a dollar pizza would taste right now? Like how good a
Dollar
dollar.
flies.
those would hit so differently right now.
The dirtiest, dingiest, slimiest dollar.
Pizza on the planet.
Oh, it's so good. It's
full of oil, grease, and just fat. Pure unhealthy.
There's no better slice of pizza than a New York dollar slice. Nobody can tell me otherwise. You $2 gives you the two best slices of pizza you'll ever have in your entire life.
And I'm telling you can go anywhere. You can go to your California. You can have your whatevers. Nothing.
Pizza kitchen. You can get your designer gastronaut pizza.
Yeah, your veganized pizza. You know what's crazy? Everything. Like, vegan grocery stores can survive in California. That just shows you the amount of just random stuff that is California. Vegan grocery stores. Not that I don't have any problems with vegans. Vegans are fine. The people that don't announce that they're vegan every 2 minutes, they're great. I'm just talking about just weird things that are able to form business where like it just to take it into account. Places like a vegan grocery store can survive in places like LA, but in Salisbury we can't even save a Macy's.
Oh, no. I mean, if anywhere there was to be a vegan grocery store, of course it would be in California. I mean, there is no place in America that's as politically like active as California. And that's just like it's crazy, but I mean, it's also because it's the literal center of media. I mean, California, LA, they have control over all of media right now. I mean, like, to put it in perspective, I mean, like, a majority of YouTubers that are like YouTubers that make daily content and like do vlogs and stuff and go out of their way to, do some outrageous stunts and whatever on YouTube. They all live in LA. They all live in LA. I don't know. It's crazy to me to think about that a vegan grocery store can exist. But I mean, there's no problem. I mean, that's just a whole
no.
Really.
There's nothing wrong with, like I said, there's nothing wrong with being vegan. There's nothing wrong with being vegetarian. There's nothing wrong with being, strictly anything. I have no problem with it.
It's for me. It's the
problems I have.
Exactly. It's the people that if you do it for your health and you tell people all the time that, hey, I mean, I had this problem and I think it would really help you out engaging in this kind of diet because that's what I did to help me, and I think it would be really great if you did it. But it's the people who are like, oh, you're really gonna eat that? It's like, yeah, what's it to you? Of course, yeah, I'm gonna eat this hamburger. Don't make me feel bad for wanting to eat something I've been eating my entire life. Come on,
come on. Because I will literally eat a entire duck in front of you. Like I do not care. I was gonna say chicken, but I was like, well, what would give a bigger impact here on the Eastern Shore? Yeah, a duck. I will eat a duck and a deer in front of you, and you can't say anything about it because I don't care. At the end of the day, everybody is grown up in a way to, eat what they seem fit, and I think everybody should be allowed to eat what, just like, the thing with halal food and me. There are tons and tons of brown people out here that will eat whatever they go out and eat because they're like, who cares if it's halal or not, As long as it's not pork, we can eat it.
Here we go with the pork again.
I'm not even going to go back into that. It all depends on the person and, your views. So I think everyone should be allowed to express what they want, but you shouldn't have to force someone else to follow through on what you're doing. Like, personally, I'm around those people every single day. They just know that I don't do something, and then I don't force them to do something.
Yeah, I think I think that the big thing in mind, or to keep in mind, is that a lot of times there's not a lot of respect for the way that people live their lives, and it's people, I think that part of the problem is that people are looking for some type of validation from others, and it was because they didn't receive that type of validation in the past, that now that they've adopted this certain like kind of lifestyle, that all of a sudden it's just like, I need everybody to know because I feel like I'm morally superior for living the type of life that I'm living right now, which is just kind of like, anybody who thinks they're morally superior than anyone that isn't in like prison for like some high crime, like, come on. You are not any better than anybody else just because you decided that you don't want to eat fish anymore. I
It
don't
doesn't. No,
I,
it's definitely not. It's definitely not something that I see people should be forcing on to anybody else. I think everybody should be given the ability to express what they want, and I see that a lot with like anything, whether it comes to music, whether it comes to like political beliefs, whether it comes to like anything like that. People
Moral
are,
superiority does not exist.
yeah, yeah. Just because you think your religion or your country or your people or whatever are or your state is morally superior to someone else doesn't mean anything. Because I'm pretty sure a whole bunch of Texans could care less about what people in California are doing right now.
It just goes to show, I mean, people who people who actually go out of their way to express that how much they care about something uh negatively, if if you feel like you can find the time to go out of your way to say your beliefs are wrong or I feel like my belief is right because of this, people just need to be more loving. That's all it is. There and it's not the, the to go back to, 1964 when John Lennon was just like all you need is love, because obviously there are a lot of other things in this world that you need other than love. But there's a reason why 95% of songs that have ever been written are about love, why people constantly need to feel some sort of validation with others because of love, and how much it can alter your life in a positive or negative way. Like love can make or break somebody. I mean, it just goes to show how important it is inherently to be human, to understand what it is to love. People should refuse to go out of their way to find ways to tear others down because they believe that their belief system is more morally right than others. If you can, show somebody some love. I mean, it's as simple as that. I don't understand what's so hard about, understanding that you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. I mean, it's one of the oldest sayings in the book. If I want somebody to hear what I have to say, first, if there's a problem, you bring the solution to the table before you mention the problem. Nobody wants to hear about problems. People want to hear about how problems can be solved. And if you can say something positive to somebody, just do it. I mean, you don't know what somebody's going through. You don't know what somebody
Exactly.
has experienced in their life. So if someone feels a certain type of way about something, it's probably because of experiences. Just, if you can, a challenge for our listeners, as of this, when this episode goes up, I'll say this: if you can find new ways to be positive about things that you've never been positive about, try your best to think about something that positive that can come out of certain situations, and how you can see things differently in new lights in order to make things like easier for you in your daily life and to positively impact more people. I mean, it's everything that happens internally, even if it's affected, outerly, like you can't control things that happen to you in your life, but the way that you respond to things, it all happens with you. It all starts with you. If you feel like that you can't see anything positively, I promise you you're wrong. If you can find ways to think about things differently in new lights, it will change your life completely. It really will. If you can find ways to become a person who thinks through things more optimistically, I'm not trying to sound like those optimism speeches that we had to give in high school, because, oh my goodness, those things were awful. We had to do one every single year as if our views of optimism were going to change. I mean, if you can find ways to think through things in a more positive way, I promise you it'll change your life.
To be a happy person is to be a positive, an optimistic person. You can't be a positive person if you're not open-minded, and you're not gonna, if you don't think about things going in a good way, then you can't be a positive person. I mean, think about all the crap that has happened this year. Okay, World War III almost
Oh my
happened.
goodness, World War III almost happened, and I almost joined the military. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad I didn't. Let me tell you what.
Kobe Bryant passed away. Um, such sad things have happened this year, and then on top of that, this coronavirus is happening. So I understand a lot of people are going through depression really, really badly right
Really
now
deep
because
depression from
yeah,
loneliness and from current
because
events. Yeah.
everything seems bad, but just understand that the plague has happened in the past. The world has been able to recover. Humanity as a whole has been able to recover, and this is just another one of those things. We'll get past it, and the best way to do it is together. And the best thing you can do right now is stay at home. You can stay at home and just understand and just take a second, just think that you are currently saving the whole world by staying home. Because if you are one less person that is spreading this disease, then you could be saving one person's life. Because you might accidentally spread it to one person who can't recover from it and who might die. And this whole underlying health conditions are the only people that are affected.
No, that's
That's a
nonsense.
lie, because there was this bodybuilder had no underlying health condition, and he's a freaking bodybuilder, man. You think his health is at risk for anything? No, he had no asthma, nothing. Was almost killed because of
25
coronavirus.
a 25-year-old All-American lacrosse player that graduated from a university in New Jersey just a couple weeks ago was rushed to Pennsylvania because he caught the virus and he was ignoring the initial symptoms. But I mean, with the healthiest person in the world, the vision of health.
Yeah, you can't sit here and be like, oh well, only healthy people are getting it. You have to understand this is something serious. You got to stay home. You gotta do your family a favor. You gotta do yourself a favor and stay home. Doesn't mean that you have to cut yourself off from your friends, and doesn't mean that you have to cut yourself off from anybody. Take this time to reflect not only on how life has gone by, but how the world has changed over the years, and how like we took human interaction for granted. We like just think about how many times you sat down in an area, in an interview, in something, and just played on your phone. How many times you've avoided social interactions?
Yeah,
How many times
exactly.
you've
How
been in an
often do you
elevator
watch
and
YouTube
felt off?
videos comparatively? How often you're on Snapchat comparatively instead of hanging out with your friends? I mean, really, like,
Yeah. How many times you begged to just stay home and not go anywhere? How many times you've canceled plans with people because you just didn't feel like doing something? Take that all into consideration, because this is a really, really important learning point. I think people are starting to earn for human interaction, and that's what's depressing more people. I just hope that when all of this does end, that we don't automatically switch back to go back to being how
the
we were
antisocial
back.
phone behavior.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because I don't think anybody is going to be able to live this down. Like, this is going to change the world. History books will be rewritten to talk about this in 20 to 30 years. When any of us have kids, our kids are going to be writing essays
Oh my
on
goodness, the only
this
thing they're gonna
stuff.
be talking about is how all the toilet paper was disappearing and how the world was shut down. I mean, imagine
Like,
the
all
history books that are gonna come out of this.
yeah, and be like, yeah, in the first week of the coronavirus, we ran out of toilet paper. The world still hasn't recovered
Yeah,
from that, by the way. We still don't have enough
we
toilet paper.
still have
I still
Tramex.
haven't seen I still haven't seen a bag of Scott anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, let me tell you, folks, the human spirit is uncrushable. It's not one of those things to say that if you put your mind to it, you can do anything. If you just believe in yourself, because the second you start believing, you can do anything. It's not that. It's not that. That's not what I'm saying, because that's so blown out of proportion, and everybody in our age demographic understands. Like, I think our age demographic is a lot more self-aware than age demographics before that. Let me
Right.
just
So
say
if
that.
if you think you can be a Pokemon, you cannot.
No,
Okay,
I'm
so
sorry I'm
stop.
sorry to tell you, but
Sorry.
but honestly, when it comes to recovering from this long period of antisocial behavior. This has been extremely hard for some people. I mean, this is going to change your entire life. And honestly, from my experience with all of this, if this doesn't end anytime soon, another challenge for you is to find ways to appreciate this time distance from others. If you're a very social person, learning how to be a little more independent as an individual, finding more things to work on, learning new hobbies, learning new behaviors. I mean, I'm really excited that I've kind of had this time, because I've been, there's been a lot of personal things that have been going on in my life right now that I've needed to recover from, and I've been spending this time just thinking through things as positively as I possibly can, and finding more ways to understand who I am as an individual. And I've also had all this time to work on music that I've been trying to put out for the past 2 years. And I've had a lot of time to, you and I have had time to start a show, write scripts and stuff to talk about things in the show. I mean, there are a lot of good things that are going to come out of this. And I think that this is going to be yours and my generation's 9/11. I mean, I really do. I think that thousands of people are dying. And it's going to bring us all together. It's going to make us closer. It's going to make us appreciate human interaction a lot more. And I'm really happy about that. I am truly really happy about that.
Yeah, no, a word to any political policies, anything like that. Right now, any politician, anybody should do what, and I'm not 100% loving of Bush. I don't think Bush was the smartest man on the planet, but what he did during 9/11, yeah, what he does during 9/11 was he brought the country together. He got up there, which is something that Trump isn't doing. Trump has a way of trying to help people that doesn't work because he talks wrong. He just doesn't have people skills, which is weird because he's a businessman.
He's a very successful businessman.
Yeah, he had a reality show. He still doesn't know how to interact with other people.
Very strange.
What he should be doing right now is doing his best to bring the country together, which is because right now, when he gets on to a conference and starts freaking out on the news reporter saying, you're telling me fake news, blah blah blah. Doesn't matter if the news reporter's telling you fake news. You are the commander in chief. Your job is to get up there and say whatever the people think, that's fine by me. But right now, we as Americans need to come together and go through this. We need to grow and get better on this. Then this, it's so stupid. Nobody is trying to help each other out. I mean, literally, who was the guy that got on? I forgot his name. The one that got on and did that whole announcement was like, yeah, this is going to be the worst week in American history. The most people are going to die this week.
It wasn't Dr. Fauci, was it?
No, it was one of the, I believe, one of our chief military.
Oh, one of the border security agent.
I believe so. I don't remember, but he did get on there and he was like, "This is going to be the worst week in American history." While you talk, I'll try to find it.
Honestly, the thing that I just remembered an interview with Alton Brown back in 2003 or 2004 about 9/11. You know what? Take a guess. What TV channel had the most viewership post 9/11? And I'm not trying to I'm not exaggerating when I say the most viewership right after 9/11 happened. A TV channel that skyrocketed in viewership and had the most views in general because of the events.
I think it was. Oh, also, just gonna add on to my little part. It was the Surgeon General Jerome Adams.
Oh, okay, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. The one who was the Navy guy.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. Probably Fox.
No, you couldn't be more wrong.
CNN.
Think no. Think in general. Think in broad terms. Think in very, very broad terms. Don't think as focused as it would be, as you normally think would be when it comes to a political event. Think as broad as possible. What channel did you think had the most views?
I don't know.
The Food Network.
The Food Network.
The Food Network. Its viewership exploded. I'm wondering, uh, I'm wondering, I'm wondering like what channel on television right now, um, like what channel is getting the most views right now? I mean, I wonder, I'm
It,
wondering if
it
it's
it probably
probably.
has to be, which it makes sense. It probably has to be a channel that's probably away from politics and everything like that, because people don't, whether we like to
The
think it or
news is
not,
telling us that we're all going to die all the time, even
die. Yeah,
before all the virus was happening. The end of the
pe-
world is always coming when you're
no,
watching
no,
politics
yeah,
again.
literally, nobody wants to listen to the fact that we're gonna die constantly. People want to get out of that, and that's why Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, things like that don't help, and that's why things like TikTok and all of that are popular right now, because people can get on there and make fun of it. People can get on there and make jokes, okay? Right now, people are making dance videos about coronavirus, okay? People are skipping, creating Cardi B lyrics and all that, whatever. People are avoiding the subject matter because it's a scary topic to think about. I think that's why all these influencers and all these YouTube creators are so important for our generation, because they give you a glimmer of hope. They don't talk about something like that, which is why we said that, even though this uh, podcast is supposed to be strictly about life during quarantine, we're definitely not going to keep quarantine as the only subject that we talk about. There's definitely going to be episodes where we don't even touch on the topic of us being in isolation,
I
because
mean,
it
I
is
hope we don't.
depressing.
I really hope we don't, because I mean, this show. The problem is that it's something that's so relevant right now. It's so relevant,
Yeah, it's hard
and
not to talk about relevance right now.
it's yeah, it's super hard to think about anything other than the fact that we're basically trapped at home. I mean, it is what it is.
Hopefully
Okay,
around May and June things will change.
take a guess at what the two largest channels that are almost tied
Ooh, MTV.
right
Mm.
now. It's actually political. It's CBS and CNN are almost neck and neck with viewership right now, which
It's
makes
funny,
sense.
CBS.
I mean CBS I think is CBS is one of those networks that's constantly putting out new material, especially like game shows and stuff. But CNN, it's I mean it's interesting to see. I mean I think that a majority of Americans are probably left leaning. It's probably safe to say that a majority of Americans are left leaning, and so CNN, CNN being the one of the number one most viewed channels right now is completely unsurprising to me.
Yeah. Um, Definitely. I think with all of that and all of the information we just splurred out would probably be a good time to start wrapping things up, especially with the optimism talk that we just had with you guys. You know,
Sure.
at the end of the day, it's important to keep your optimism high, like Sam said. The moment you lose your optimism, the moment you lose your positivity, that's literally the moment this virus does beat us out,
It takes
all of
advantage
us.
of us. Yeah, and I mean, and trust us, we're both scientists. We both have high school diplomas, and we both are in the wireless industry. So when it comes to knowing everything, that's generally our specialty.
Yeah,
Uh,
because we have to put positivity into customers while we're selling them crappy phone plans.
anything that we anything do you remember the LMB settings? So there was an inside joke with the last job that we were working at, where there was a nonsense phrase that our manager told us to use when selling, for everything. You could use it no matter what, and so we had a tally at work to see how many times we could use the little phrase with our sales pitch, and see how many people believed us and asked what it was. And we had to come up with a new definition every single time we used it. It was the LMB of the phone. So the LMB settings or the LMB capabilities or the LMB screen. It was so funny. It was so
The
funny.
newly defined LMB network system that we have
Yes.
created.
Yes, exactly. It's beautiful. But
We We definitely had fun at our previous job because let me tell you, there was nothing else that we could do other than have fun with our customers because our customers tried our patience every single day.
Do you remember the guy that pulled a knife on me?
And then came
Yeah.
and apologized later on.
Oh my gosh, we'll talk about that another day though. That's a funny story. We'll talk about stories of
Yeah,
retail.
we'll definitely make a retail episode. Talk about Sam's experience in retail, my experience in retail, because we definitely we could go for 2 hours talking about just retail experience. Oh my god.
Well, on that note, folks, thanks again for tuning in. This was episode 3 of Life During Quarantine. Again, go ahead and do whatever you can to give us some suggestions of topics to talk about. We're open to any type of discussion. We're really looking forward to expanding our viewership and getting more audience participation to the show. Even though it's brand new, we still want to have more segments dedicated to some viewers and listeners. And if you have anything that you would like to hear us discuss, anything that you would like to see us put on the video version of the podcast, anything that you want to see happen, just let us know. We're 100% open to suggestion, and we're really looking for more participation. So,
yep. And with that, that's on God, baby girl. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.
thanks for tuning in, folks. This has been Life During Quarantine.